Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship, the LSI F1.5 EU Championship I mean. We're here for Monza, the Italian Grand Prix. It's frantic on top in the final moments. The track is getting a little bit greasy as there's no rain, but the clouds are definitely shining over, which means the circuit temperature is a little bit cooler. Terence hasn't been able to set a lap time. Jericho, Willis and Verth, the only higher tier drivers on the grid. Welcome back PJ to LSI. Welcome Frantic to their final run of qualifying that they go across the line to beat their lap time, to destroy their lap time, and they are P1. It's Ken Game who recently just went ahead of Addy. Addy's on an outlap though, ready to go again, and it's going to be done and dusted for Ken Game. It's going to be done and dusted for Frantic as well. It's all about everybody else behind to try and compete, and Terence no longer the only driver from Hong Kong on the grid, so they've got to try and make sure that they maintain their status as the best driver from Hong Kong if they can, as they've had many Grand Prix victories now, 3 in their LSI career. Last time around in Australia, just to say, and they crossed the line to start the final lap for their session. The top 2 are pretty much done, and we've got the next few cars coming around the next few corners. Addy's about to start their final run, and we'll see what they can do. It's PJ, who's P6 at the moment, and looking to try on return to see what they can do. Of course, driving as a current tier driver in F1.5 for the first time ever. Well, first time in a while, if not ever. In the Ferrari, DRS not open until you get to the line. What's it going to be? It's 3.5 tenths improvement. It's P4. It's a 19.0. And they're a little way from Addy, but they're definitely pushing themselves up to the top. And they definitely have that experience, don't they, to get themselves into good positions. It's way 1 minute across the line to go to P8. As they can't quite get to Abubakar there, but it's going to be the legend being talked about across the line next up to see what they can do. Their teammate will go across the line shortly as well. It's going to be Jay Holly not improving on their lap in the end. We will see the Mercedes of Shadow Rain into the pit lane. It's going to be the Red Bull of Terence who doesn't... Oh, they do get a lap in. They go to P4. They push down PJ and they almost get there on Addy. A brilliant effort, but it's the final qualifying run here for Addy. What can they get done? What can they do? Can they look for pole position ahead of Frantic, who's miles ahead of everybody else? Oh, and they can't get it. They can't get it. Almost 3 tenths improvement. It's Frantic P1 with a 0.236. Addy in P2. And this is going to be a hell of a race. Once again, these guys will battle it out. Addy actually winning not the last race in Australia. It was the last race in Silverstone. Terence 2 races ago in Australia, which was actually the last race that Terence competed in. Brilliant stuff from these guys on the grid, and we're set up for a very, very nice race indeed. Sulkin's joined at the final moment, and unfortunately I think they just miss out on actually getting into the lobby for a run, which is very frustrating. We will wait to get the grid on the screen. We might see Sulkin. And then we'll see how it goes. It's Frantic on pole position. It's Addy in P2. Ken Game in P3 with Terence in P4 as we go through the race director just in case. And then we'll go through the pit stops. We'll be back in a bit for the race. Don't miss it. Ready. Hold. Go! Who's going to get it into turn 1? Frantic in P1, Addy in P2. Hurdling down to the first corner. It is Addy in P3 now as Kenlam Game gets there is PJ. PJ has had a big moment as damage from a car behind. I don't know who it was. It's the McLaren of Gledio down the order. Unfortunately, as they join in the last few moments of the session, it's Frantic 1.4 seconds in front. Addy got back ahead of Kenlam Game. It's the Red Bull of Terrence trying to have a go, but they're side by side just ahead. A switchback almost available, but just missed out in the end. Terrence does still look to the inside line, doesn't quite get there. Oh, and there's a big issue there for Shadow, as Shadow got a big bit of oversteer. They don't have any damage, but it's all a little bit tricky. Oh no, Terrence! Terrence is round! The VSC is deployed, and on the second Lesmo, somehow Terrence is still in this Grand Prix. That's an easy place to end up losing your front wheels. Very fortunate to see them still in this one. It is only a VSC, and Frantic's had a dream start. And we wait for the restart now. Addy's going to have to try and nail this restart. It's Kenlam Game in P3. As, oh, it's not quite such a good restart from Kenlam Game, but it is really amazing from Addy. Perfect stuff. Terrence in the pit lane as the safety car ended, so they don't really gain anything from that, unfortunately. And it is Abubakar to P4. PJ somehow keeping in a straight line in the opening corners, and then Shadow Rain. The field has opened up after that VSC, so it has been a little bit confusing, it seems. We've got a good old battle going on here, and that's going to be so close for Shadow Rain, almost losing it all. And then we have Jay Holly with some pressure from behind with Jericho, but it's Anverf looking, and it's a very big swoop across to try and get in front from Jericho. Willis Verf's now going to try and follow their former rival in F1.5 and current rival in the LSI F1 Championship. Verf not racing yesterday, racing today and showing their pace. Gledio right behind in this battle to see what they can do, if they can do anything. We look further up and see the battle that has now split up a little bit, but Abubakar is trying to put the pressure on PJ with DRS available now already at this stage of the Grand Prix. The first car to have DRS, but no overtake to be made. It's going to be further down the order though, Gledio and Verf. Look, not Verf, sorry, it's J.A. Holly side by side as Gledio makes it to P9 and gets in front. Lovely stuff from not qualifying in this one. Oh, and a big off there from Addy, still keeping it in a straight line. The top two breaking away massively as Kenlam Game can't do anything about it. PJ in P4 trying to make progress from their first qualifying session as they use their experience to get an understanding of the game during the race. Abubakar in P5 with DRS with PJ, so hoping to maybe work together with the OG of LSI, the first ever LSI driver to sign up to the league back in 2019 in the middle of the year, and they are still around showing their face, which is great to see. Shadow Rain having pressure from a higher tier driver, not going to be easy. The driver that competed for victory in the highest LSI tier yesterday. They know what they're doing, and that's a yellow. That's Addy! Addy out of the race! Addy is out of the race! I do not believe it! What has just happened? Out of the Grand Prix. In the second chicane. And what a strange way to crash the car. That is drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car for way 1 minute. For whatever reason, that penalty has been applied. But Frantic has now lost all of the lead that they would have had. Of course, with Addy now DNFing. The safety car is brought out. We'll look at this tyre situation as Frantic stays out. It would make most sense to stay out. I don't think we're going to see any pit stops. Would anybody risk it? No. Yes. Shadowrain, Jericho Willis, Verth all having a look. Verth more surprising than the medium tyre runners to go into the pit lane. Jay Holly decides to go in as well. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is here. Are they looking to try and do a double medium for Verth? I think it would be the only possible strategy that they'll be able to look at from the situation they're in. Fortunately, Edvir did not make it into the race in time. Unfortunate circumstances, I don't think they can be fully blamed. And we're on lap 5 out of 27. It's Frantic leading the way on a medium tyre. A wall of hard tyre runners mixed with fresh and non-pitters. And then we go back all the way to P8 and 9 to see the next hard tyres. And it's a spin on the exit the second chicane here for Addy. That's what's caused the DNF there. I just wanted to double check that one. And maybe getting a little bit of gravel on the way out of the corner. That could have been why. Now, we're on lap 6 out of 27 and we do miss 2 cars who have made more pit stops again. Now, Terence back onto the hard tyre, looking to run all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. That's what their plan must surely be. Way 1 minute now onto a fresh set of medium tyre runners, or tyres. But it's the safety car staying out, and I assume they'll stay out for 1 more lap, allowing the cars behind to catch up. But I don't think it will stay out any more than that. As you see, all the cars behind warming up their tyres, trying to keep everything up to temperature. Frantic, however, staying composed and in a straight line, not warming up their tyres. They're saving the tyre wear as they continue. And then on this lap, I assume they will look to warm up their tyres. If they don't, then I'll be a little bit worried. There's different ways of doing it. There's benefits to the two strategies that I would name right now, which is keeping your tyres warm the entire time. It means that you have warmer tyres relative to your rivals. If you don't warm until the final lap, you end up having better tyre wear, but maybe just a little bit colder tyres at the beginning. My preference, the second option, better tyre wear and just suffering for a few moments, because you still do a short period of warming up those tyres. Although, that being said, Frantic hasn't started warming up their tyres at all, which does concern me slightly. I think they'll look at doing it on this straight, unless they're trying to brake drag, which could be a strategy as well, although not known to be so effective in the current game. The safety car will come in at the end of this lap. Your championship leader will lead the way and continues to not warm up their tyres. When will they go for it? Will they go for it early? Will they go for it late? Are they looking for a big slipstream for the car behind to go? It's going to be very early, and Frantic pulls the pin absolutely perfectly. It looks like some cars massively caught off guard, and Frantic could be good by turn 1. I think they've smashed that right there. Canlam Game not able to do anything about it. They will not challenge into the first corner. They might challenge to the first corner, but it would be very risky and not worth it. PJ and P3 in this battle. It's side by side for Jericho Willis and Verf as the two rivals continue in all tiers to fight it out. Verf is ahead and on the medium tyre crucially as well. These guys have already made pit stops, so it's all a little bit tricky. Verf needs to make this strategy work, and they have to play aggressive if they do want to take the benefits of it. There are a lot of disadvantages with the tyre wear, so they have to do things now rather than later on, and then play the game smart further into the race. Oh, and a big off there. Unfortunately, Gledio off the road, as they are a Ferrari driver racing in the McLaren just for today. It's going to be Verf now trying to challenge around the outside. Will they be able to get there? Well, Gledio cutting the corner to stay ahead of a higher tier driver, which then compromises Verf. Jericho Willis almost on the attack, and they are going to try and attack. They turn the battery off, but that was Gledio just getting themselves a warning as they try to stay ahead of Verf. Very different strategies as well, but still wanting to give it a shot. DRS has been enabled on lap 9 out of 27. The Mercedes pulls out to the left-hand side to overtake Abubakar Tiana. Is it going to be possible to secure the move, though? The Aston Martin has the inside line, and Gledio is round as they continue to try and fight, and they're stuck on the curb. They are stuck on the curb. They're going to have to reset to track, but I don't think they will. It looks like they're not going to do it. There's only one way, and you are allowed to reset to track if you're stuck, but I think that's going to be a disqualified car in a few seconds' time. Unfortunately, Gledio is out of this Grand Prix, and after a very risky move that has affected Gledio, sorry, not Gledio, has affected the... I can't remember who it was. The other car that they were racing. They're now down the order. Very frustrating there for Gledio to see that one happen and be DSQ'd from the race. But they are out. Canlam Game holding on to DRS range of Frantic as they get pressure from PJ, who is really showing good pace as they continue to get the laps in the F1.25 game. Abubakar continues with the pressure from Verf, but Verf is going to have a clean run with DRS to give the move a go. Are they going to be able to secure it though? Well, there it is. Abubakar cannot do anything about that one. They'll just have to let it be. PJ doesn't make the move into the first corner on Kenland Game because of the DRS train that they have now. Verf has to try and push to the absolute maximum to see if they can catch the top three. And in the corners, definitely is going to be possible. There was Jericho Willis looking for the move on Abubakar in the second chicane, and with the decisiveness, the F1.5 reigning champion gets the move done with big wing damage. So it was Jericho Willis that was suffering from that. They've got massive wing damage and they've just gone for an incredible overtake. Absolutely extraordinary. It was Gledio who sent it on the inside to try and stay ahead of Verf, and it was Jericho Willis who suffered from it. They continue on their way, 2.2 seconds, already made a pit stop in this race and now having to take another one with a front wing change plus another 4 seconds effectively because of that. Their race is definitely compromised, to say the least. Compromised, you could say, is also Kenland Game as PJ goes for the move, as it's Frantic who has made a bit of a breakaway. Verf has caught up. It's going to be Abubakar ahead of Jericho Willis, as Jericho Willis can't do anything about it. And welcome back to the battle, Terence. Terence had that issue on the opening lap, has been brought back into it after the full safety car, and is now finding themselves to try and compete for the midpoints right now. They are actually P5 for the current tier drivers, with the EU drivers, the higher tier drivers being Jericho Willis and Verf. 1.5 seconds splits Frantic and PJ. Kenland Game being brought along with them. Verf can't do much about it when they're in a train. They're trying their best with the tyre that they've got. It's going to be complicated though. You're not exactly the championship contender for no reason, so Verf will have the pace to be able to do something about it even though they're in a train, and I think they've got the battery to give it a go. It's going to be PJ into the pit lane early on, and it's going to be an easy move for Verf into the first corner, using a little bit of ERS to assist them, and heading into the first corner with a lot of overspeed as they try and catch up to Frantic for their own sake, but it will also benefit Kenland Game. 2 pit stops, Abubakar Hatiana and PJ. They're both in for a fresh set of medium tyres in this race. Abubakar having a great start to the race earlier on. And now Kenland Game does find themselves very much on their own, with Verf pushing to the limit, and already DRS has been broken and almost catching up to Frantic to try and look at the victory, at least in the early stages, to get into the lead of the Grand Prix. That's what I should say. And we continue. Will we see pit stops? We will see pit stops. We see Frantic in. And Frantic, oh, Kenland Game also, but a 10-second time penalty once more this season. We see 10-second time penalties again and again and again. Verf leads the way. It's Terence in P2. It's Jericho Willis in P3. Switch positions now. Will we see anything change up after all of this? Well, you can see PJ in net P1 as they get the undercut on Frantic. There's also a set of medium tyres for PJ to try and take it to the end of the Grand Prix, which is going to be very, very long. I do wonder if they are doing a 2-stop strategy, which isn't generally the fastest strategy. Take that medium tyre is going to be quick now, but very hot later on. Frantic is going to have a consistent tyre towards the end of the Grand Prix. They've got no worries. They currently have the higher ground, in my opinion, and they cannot afford to take crazy risks as long as they don't get caught up behind or caught up in a battle with Can-Am Game whilst waiting for PJ's tyres to die. That being said, Ken does have a big issue with the time penalty situation, which is going to be the bigger concern. Verth leads the way on lap 14. It's Terence in P2, and it's a switch up as we see Jericho Willis into the pit lane for a new front wing and some new tyres. We'll see where they end up, but it's going to be a fair bit further behind than we would like to see them. And they do eventually get released by the game from the pit lane, and they are effectively at the back of the pack. We've got way 1 minute on debut. And they didn't have the best lap 1, unfortunately. It did look very difficult. But they're giving it their best shot as they race for the Sauber team. And we're currently in a big old Sauber sandwich. Will we see a battle with Can-Am Game and Frantic, as we've got a big old train looking in right now? And that looks absolutely incredible. I was looking for the keybind to switch. Can-Am Game goes to the inside line into turn 11 and gets the move done on Frantic. Exactly what I said Frantic should not allow to happen. The switchback, though, is available. Are they going to get it done? No. The ERS is being used by the McLaren, and surely Frantic's got to use some as well to try and have a go on PJ. PJ goes defensive, moving all over the place. Way too many times. Frantic backs off. There was almost contact. There's a big moment there from the Ferrari under braking. Still in a straight line. But PJ's definitely going to have made a couple of enemies here and there with that little moment that they just had. A bit too excited on the defensive trigger. Can-Am Game is ahead after that big old switch up that we just saw. Frantic stays behind. The Can-Am Game gains 2 positions and Frantic loses 1. PJ loses 1. Tyre wise, very similar between Ken and PJ. Brilliant news for Frantic as these guys are battling, and it means that they just lose less time. It's actually Frantic who has got a massive run out the Ascari chicane. Dirty air being experienced by PJ for the first time in a league race for the Austrian, who goes off the circuit at the final corner, and there it is. The terrible run will leave them incredibly vulnerable, and it's going to be a clean run at making the move here on the McLaren as well, but they backed off. Frantic's backed off, and it's PJ who goes in front instead, using all the battery to try and get the move done. The switchback is available for the McLaren. It's going to be a drag race up to turn 3 and into 4. It's going to be the McLaren once again in front. PJ's got the inside line. They then slot in behind Frantic. Are they going to have a go at anything right here? No. They continue to stay behind. It's PJ almost looking at going into the back of the McLaren as they nose their way through the corner. And now DRS will be available, and we'll do this all over again. Verth leads the way, Terence in P2, and we've got J.A. Holly in P3. Can-Am Game in this battle leads the way and is the net race leader. Frantic in P3 as the championship contender, the championship leader. PJ on return as the OG driver trying to give it a go. Abubakar, 7.5 seconds of this battle. They are behind. Shadow Rain in P8 on a fresh set of tyres. Then we've got Jericho Willis and Way 1 minute in P10. DNFing earlier on was Addy, and getting disqualified for being stuck on a curb and being stationary on the circuit was Gledio. Once again, the moves are coming in. This time, Frantic is pressurising. Frantic is going to look for a move. It's defensive throw from Kellam Game. It's the outside line for PJ, and there's nothing Frantic can do about it. They just have to wait behind and hope that one of these cars makes a mistake. But for now, they don't. It's PJ, though, being vulnerable to Frantic, who pushes through turn 3, is now going to try and choose left or right. They're going to slot in behind. And they're actually going to give in on making a move on the McLaren, so they select one overtake instead of risking two, and they're now going to have DRS in the final half of the lap, effectively, which will allow them to maybe look at making the overtake, but then they'll get to turn 1 with the big old start-finish straight before it again and get re-overtaken. PJ now dropping back. These tyres maybe not looking so good compared to the hard tyre. I don't know if that was just a mistake or not, but Verf has made a pit stop, so has Terence. It's a 3-second time penalty for PJ. And that's Kellam Game also getting a 3-second time penalty as they go massively off the circuit. 13 seconds for the McLaren driver, who might be looking at going into the pit lane again in this race. Frantic all of a sudden has an incredible advantage on the rest of the field. The next current tier driver to not have a time penalty is Terence, who won in Australia. It's the inside line for Frantic. It's surely the move done. No! Turning in a bit early there is the McLaren. It's wheel banging. It's side by side. It's Frantic in P1. PJ watched that battle happen ahead, but they weren't close enough this time, and they are going to get challenged around the outside to the inside by Verf, and Verf is having to put a lot of pressure on, even on the McLaren where it is going to be slotting in. Behind goes the Ferrari, and Verf has made the move. Lovely stuff. As they continue with some brilliant momentum in the Sauber car. An iconic duo, Sauber and Verf. It's not going to be for too much longer, a season and a half maybe. Other than that, Verf will go to Audi. .8 of a second. Frantic breaking away. And they just miss out on breaking away from DRS range this time around. But Kellam Game with a big mistake out the final corner. Those tyres are looking very old already, and they actually dive into the pit lane. So does PJ, releasing Verf. And that's a 10-second time penalty. Oh, for the man that returns to LSI. The lack of experience is showing there in recent times. Of course, their pace, their finesse, despite having time away from the game, is still very much with them. We know what they can do, but just things like that you don't think of too much just can catch you out here and there. And that's a 10-second time penalty. Kellam Game will also be serving a long old time penalty, which they've done so now. PJ will serve that one later on. For now, they've jumped ahead of the McLaren, but that may change later on, and actually it will change later on. Frantic leads the way. Verf now putting the pressure on. Will Frantic have a chance at winning the Grand Prix for the overall drivers, or will Verf take it away? It's Terence now in P3, and looking, as they've made a pit stop in recent times, to try and take these tyres all the way to the end of the Grand Prix, which they will be able to do. It's just going to be very tough at the end of this race. Jericho Willis makes the move on Shadow Rain. Jericho Willis tries to show their pace. DRS will be grabbed hold of by the Mercedes car. As they will look to try and be helped along. There it is though. Frantic and Verf switch positions. And Verf is unleashed in clean air. DRS available for Frantic. Frantic has raced in the highest tier on a couple of occasions. They know what to do. But Verf they're in championship contender form for the highest tier. They're not going to be easy to compete against. You can see the limit that they're on out of that first Lesmo. The second Lesmo, they're going to be in similar conditions. DRS is available for Frantic to bring them back into it. But right now that Sauber is looking so quick. 4.7 seconds splits Terence and Frantic. What will the tyre situation say for them? It's PJ and Jay Holly switching positions as PJ makes progress in this race. They do have that 10-second time penalty, so they can't afford to waste any time. And that's actually damage. No, it's not damage. It is damage on the right end plate for Jay Holly, unfortunately, so they're going to be losing some performance from that. It's Kenlam Game with that time penalty that they had earlier on. They're now trying to make progress once again. We'll have a look at the time penalties for everybody. 3 seconds for Shadow Rain, 6 for Kenlam Game, and 3 for Way. 1 minute. It's 13 for PJ. A 6-second time penalty for Kenlam Game, and they need to try and get past the Aston Martin sooner rather than later. Not looking to dive it. They'll instead go for the move with DRS and Slipstream, tucking in and reaching incredible speeds as they head down to the first corner, gripping hold of the steering wheel as tight as they can, avoiding locking up those rears as you slam the brake pedal down. And they look to manage it very nicely. 1 minute, unfortunately, at the back of the pack. 23 seconds away, but still in this race. Worth leads the way as we continue in this sour sandwich. Frantic 2.1 seconds away. Their tyres are going to be good to take them to the end, but so is Verf's, so are Terence's. It's not going to change much. Terence, as I said, good to go to the end, but they're going to have a tough time towards these final stages, and if they haven't caught Frantic now, then it's going to be P2 that they look at. They try and aim down the sights and give it a go. Another podium in our side would be great, with more cars on the field as well. It is very tasty to have Jericho Willis making brilliant progress and a phenomenal recovery from the race they've had so far. Shadow Rain in P5 and looking to take their first ever podium in LSI. The EU drivers, of course, currently Frantic, Terence, Shadow Rain, PJ, Jay Holly, Kenlam Game, Abubakar, and away 1 minute. That podium would be delightful for the driver from South Africa. Now we go back to this, where the hunter is Jericho Willis as they hunt down the ball, and Terence running with these 6-lap-old medium tyres. Once again, I'll say it, no concerns for them. But Verf should only get, Jericho Willis should be stronger by the time we get to the end of this Grand Prix. You can see them in the background. Shadow Rain gets a 3-second time penalty, which doesn't really affect their race in the situation that they're in right now. PJ, with a 13 seconds of time penalties, has to do more if they want to finish ahead of the Aston Martin. Kenlam Game is making progress and catching up as they bring Abubakar with them to catch up to their teammate Terence here. But it is a 10-second time penalty for Shadow Rain speeding in the pit lane, and they've retired in the pit lane on lap 23 of the 27, and I'm not entirely sure what has happened there, but they've thrown away the points, and it's promotion for Jay Holly, Kenlam Game and Abubakar as they fight it out. Kenlam Game not in a position to overtake just yet. A little bit close to comfort, and they're gonna have a go. The outside line turns to the inside. Surely it's gonna be for the McLaren, but a big movement there for the Aston Martin, and that's gonna be a front wing gone. What a shame there for Jay Holly, but that was always gonna happen if they went to the inside line as they tried to hold on. Their teammate goes for the move, and now they've got no end plate on the left or right side of their car. Abubakar's going to have to try and hunt down the McLaren, but Jay Holly just a little bit too aggressive there on the defence, and then trying to re-attack has not been able to work it out, and they've paid the price. Dropping down the order, they will go. Berth leads the way, 3.7 seconds now. Jericho Willis continues to put the pressure on. It's 1.2 seconds between Abubakar and Kenlam Game. Jay Holly tries to hold on. They don't get the DRS. So it is going to be Jericho Willis and Terence, the closest battle on track to watch. Look away for 1 second, the move's been made. Jericho Willis smoothly passing Terence. And now DRS available for Terence. ERS is abundance of 20 seconds ahead of PJ in this Grand Prix. Catching up nicely as they run into the first corner, but not using any battery to make sure that they do catch up to Jericho Willis, which is an interesting call on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Are they looking to fight with Jericho Willis for the overall podium, or are they trying to secure that P2? We don't quite know. They've used a bit of battery now, and they're still in DRS range. How will this play out onto the final lap of the Grand Prix? Verf half a lap away of starting it. DRS available for Terence to catch up, to minimise the time loss in the dirty air, and to see if they can really have a go. Maybe into the first corner, if not by the end of the lap. Realistically, I think the first corner could be their best bet to cause an upset, because otherwise Jericho Willis has a chance of breaking away through the rest of the lap. There it is. Verf pushing in P1. Terence gains, no battery left. Turning off the battery is Jericho Willis. The inside line is looked, but it's only a dream, as Terence will not be able to get there. They just have to wait behind. We're not going to see any overtakes from further behind. This is still the closest battle out on track, but no changes will be made. It's Terence who's driven a brilliant race, not giving up, going from the back of the pack all the way to the top two for the EU drivers. We have seen Verf go for an incredible drive as well at the back of the pack as a higher tier driver. They ended up making a crazy call onto different tyres, and they have made it work. Terence followed along, and we want to quickly double check. Looks good to me. Frantic, however, is the one to watch. The championship leader has driven a flawless race. They've had troubles, they've had challenges, they've had to make overtakes and they've had to defend. But it's all done now. A brilliant victory for Frantic. Frantic wins the Italian Grand Prix from pole to finish. It's going to be Frantic in P2. Sorry, for the overall race, it's Jericho Willis in P3. Then we've got Terence PJ in P5 on return to LSI. I don't know if it's going to stay that way with the time penalties that we've got. A 6 second versus 13 seconds. It's going to be tight. It's going to be very, very tight. But I think Ken Lam Game will have it in the end. PJ crosses the line for P5 for now, and we'll see what happens here with the McLaren. I think it's done and dusted, and it is. There you go. Ken Lam Game gets ahead of PJ just by a couple of tenths. It's Abubakar who beats both of them to take 10 points home. Jaya Holly in P8, and it's going to be away 1 minute in P9, scoring P7 points for the current tier drivers. Frantic is the one to watch. A tough race, lots to think about. Safety cars involved as well. And not warming up their tyres was the strategy to save their tyres for later on in the race when they needed them. They had some brilliant pace today. Fully deserved. On the podium and going for one of the most interesting dance moves I've ever seen. That is Verve taking victory. It's Frantic in P2 and Jericho Willis in P3. Terence, Hotiana, Ken Lam Game, PJ, Holly, away 1 minute, and then DNFing earlier on was Shadow Rain, Addy, and Gladio being disqualified from the Grand Prix after being stuck on a curb. We get the session results, and we'll go through the race director just in case as we need to, and then we'll go through the pit stop section as well. We'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Italian Grand Prix. That was one hell of a race. Frantic, we start with you. Later on into the race it was looked pretty swimmingly, but earlier on it was a little bit more complicated and there was some battling that was going on. You were on the hard tyre versus some mediums, which can't be easy.
Yeah, well, hoo-ha, hoo-ha, back on top again. Very nice. Yeah, well, it was a bit scary at the start because I thought like turn one Monza, it's always deadly to be in front. So I was kind of cautious going into the first turn, but it was okay. I believe there was a big pile up behind me or something. I need to watch the replay. It's kind of hectic, kind of frantic, you could say. But but yeah, well, at the end, I was just managing my tires. I was kind of scared that they were gonna explode at any moment because they were. I think it was almost 80% or something. I think I pushed too hard at the start of my hard stint. But well, yeah, back on top. I also wrote a little poem, if I'm allowed to read it to you guys.
Go for it.
All right, here it goes. Go! Who's gonna get it into turn one? And there goes Frantic, overtaking Nifoyan. He goes all out. Though the setup is a bit twitchy, it doesn't matter. He gets past Zingy. Jericho goes wide, but leaves just enough room. Another overtake done. Next up, Pursuit. Their battle is glorious, but Frantic has more guts. And he gets the job done with a tow from his teammate, Peanuts. The first time Frantic won a race was last year here at Monza. And the first championship victory is this season. Hoo-ha, hoo-ha.
I have tears in my eyes. Thank you very much, ChatGPT. Appreciate that.
No, I wrote it myself. Like I was taking a shower before the race, and it just came to my mind, and I was just, yeah, I'm gonna say this on stream. So
if
I made
you
it myself.
wrote that, then that's incredibly impressive, and thank you very much for those.
Appreciate you.
Those words. I appreciate that. Well done, Frantic. Congratulations. You are still extending your championship lead. You've won the Italian Grand Prix, and we'll see you next time. Well done today.
Yep. Appreciate you.
I still don't believe it, but fair enough. Well, that's a brilliant poem. PJ, we move on to you. PJ, welcome back to LSI. Welcome to F1.5. It's got its differences compared to previous games, but you still look like you had the finesse out there on track.
Yeah, I just bought the game last week with only 6 hours on. But from the first lap I've done in the game, I felt pretty comfortable with the driving style. Not to compare to last year's game where I felt horrible all the way. And, the handling is just suits me and I'm feeling really comfortable. And yeah, the pace was there. Some things to learn with the usage of the new ERS and how to handle the tire wear, but all over I was fighting for victory, and then strategy wise it wasn't that good, but I can build from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was great to see you back, and I understand you may not be racing much at all, but you still got it. You're still going well. So thank you very much. It's great to see you on track as always, and hopefully we can see you as soon as possible. Thank you, PJ.
Yeah, lovely to be back.
And we move on to Terence. Terence, that is a lovely P2 for the current tier drivers, and I think you'll be happy with that one, right? That's from the back of the pack with front wing damage all the way to P2. That's pretty something.
Yeah, I think, I'm pretty satisfied with my recover. Yeah, pretty crappy first lap. I don't know why I would get spun there. I think because I activated my overtake button so early. Well, I step on some cars. Well,
it is easily done. Putting the battery on there and losing it. It happens more often than you think.
Yeah, so I lost there and crashed into the front wing. Crashed my front wing there. Luckily, I got the safety car so I can directly go to the back there, and I kind of underestimate my medium tire wear. So actually, it's quite good for a whole medium stint. I did, I think, 11 laps there. but I got 75% tire wear at the end of the Grand Prix, so I can't really fight for overall P3 with Jericho. Obviously, he was faster also. I think I can extend on my hard testing one more lap, because I know that if you use hard tire as your first, then actually you can extend whatever you like until it comes to very old, or you feel something bad with your old hot tires, whatever. But yeah, pretty good. I can't have. I think I don't need to have any excuse there.
Yeah. I mean, what I will say is, over the years of watching racing, crashing in the opening lap at that corner, probably 8 times out of 10 has seen cars DNF. I don't know how you're still in that race. So well done. It was great to see you make all that progress, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Terence.
Okay, thank you.
And we move on to the end of the stream. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you next weekend for the Spanish Grand Prix. Enjoy the Mexican Grand Prix qualifying session. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.